Code Geass, like other fantastic anime, have so many moments in the series where your jaw dropped, maybe you shed a tear, or just pissed you off. In this list, I'm going to go over 15 of those moments. Expect spoilers for Lelouch of the Resurrection, Lelouch of the Rebellion, and Akito the Exiled.
All our tasks at hand have been cleared.
Here are the top 15
Oh my god.
What the f***
moments in Code Geass.
Just one moment.
do you want?
Even more.
Obviously.
See, I'm Reed. I want everything you can think of.
Then I propose a deal.
Equivalent exchange. Huh? I'll give you
More.
awesome
Videos.
if you
Please.
Like.
Comment.
Subscribe. Sorry about that interruption.
We're off! Let's hit the road!
At number 15, we have Lelouch's Resurrection from Lelouch of the Resurrection. The reason why this is lower on the list is that many fans would have preferred Lelouch's original fate, thus ruining the ending. It never bothered me as it's a different universe. I was very excited about it when the film was announced. I got goosebumps when the awesome music played as Lelouch appeared for the first time in years. I saw this epic moment on the big screen, so there's a definite bias here. Just remember, this was a different universe, so it doesn't retcon what happened in the original anime. At number 14, I'm going to discuss two events involving Nunnally. The first is the big reveal where Lelouch learns that Nunnally is still alive, and the second is when Nunnally opens her eyes, breaking her father's Geass. Let's talk about that first moment. Lelouch moved on from his plan to help Nunnally, believing that she died in the F.L.E.I.J.A explosion. After surviving the Black Knight's betrayal, thanks to Lelouch, Lelouch found the resolve to still defeat his enemy. After taking him down, ending the Ragnarok Connection, Lelouch started the Zero Requiem. One of the events of the Zero Requiem was to force the UFN to join Britannia. Once Lelouch accomplished this, Nizel called him on his personal transport, revealing that Nunnally had been alive this whole time. Had it not been for Suzaku, this reveal might have crushed Lelouch's resolve to continue. The second moment occurs as Lelouch talks to Nunnally on the Damocles to get the key. Before turn 24 ends, Nunnally breaks Charles' Geass and opens her eyes. In both moments, Nunnally surprised both the audience and Lelouch. Considering how important Nunnally is to Lelouch, I had to include her two biggest moments in the series. At number 13, we have Stage 19. The part that got me was how it started. When I first watched the episode, I remember thinking, wait, what's going on here? The Avalon was about to kill Lelouch and Suzaku, and now we're on an island? Kallen and Euphemia are naked? What's happening here? We learn later on that V2 transported everyone to the island, and before that, Lelouch commands Suzaku to live, which was the catalyst for the event. Over the years, I've come to enjoy the episode, especially when Lelouch steals the Gwaine, but that initial WTF moment is why this made the list. At number 12, we have the massacre of the WZero unit at Castle Weisenwolf. Now, Code Geass is not afraid to kill off characters in horrifying ways, but rarely do we see it done to the main characters. In this case, it was the majority of the WZero unit. Besides the members fighting the Order of Michael and the Alexanders, the rest of the team was inside providing support. But once the members of the Order of Michael break in, they massacre everyone, leaving a trail of bodies. The only survivor was Layla, thanks to Klaus's sacrifice. This scene shocked me, and I really didn't see it coming. Despite this horrific part in Akito the Exiled, since it was reversed thanks to both the collective consciousness and Layla, it does rank lower on the list. At number 11, we have the infamous table scene with Nina Einstein, which I just had to include here. Now, when I first watched the scene, it never bothered me. It never even gave me a second thought. All I was thinking was, okay, Nina likes Euphemia, and that's it. But the fanbase didn't respond the same way, and this made the scene infamous in the anime, giving the table the nickname Table Coon. Whenever people discuss why they hate Nina, the table will always come up. It's too bad that despite some good parts of her character, Nina will always be tied to this one random event in the anime that I personally never had any issues with. At number 10, we have Layla's Geass, and everything about it. In Akito the Exiled, Layla's Geass was never explained. The entire time I couldn't figure out what was going on when she activated it. It wasn't clear if the time travel was a result of her Geass or the collective consciousness. The setup wasn't great either. All we knew is that C2 gave it to her, and when she was old enough, Layla would decide to accept the contract. From what I can tell, it could unite the consciousness of others and could block other Geass ability, like Jeremiah's Chancellor, but they never said definitively what it did, and that's why it annoyed me. It was such a bad call then, and it's a bad call now. It's definitely one of the biggest blunders in the series, but at least the color is nice and had beautiful animation. At number 9, we have the reveal at Kamina Island, where Suzaku and Kallen learned that Zero's true identity was Lelouch. Much like Suzaku's reveal, this setup was an excellent use of dramatic irony. You could cut the tension here with a knife, as Suzaku and Kallen had adverse reactions to the reveal. Kallen felt betrayed and used by Lelouch, and possibly even heartbroken, and Suzaku always suspected him but didn't want to believe it, probably because of their past friendship. This was such a tense moment that was capped off by the epic standoff with both characters preparing to shoot each other, one of the best cliffhangers in anime history. At number 8, we need to talk about Lelouch's decision decision to erase himself from Shirley's memories. Lelouch was put into a bind and had to find a way to help Shirley to deal with the harsh reality that the man she loved is the same man that took her father away from her. Shirley was so frantic, believing to have killed Valletta at Port Yokozuka. Lelouch acted fast, using his Geass to remove the memories and even going as far to make sure that she'll forget about him altogether because he wanted to make sure she would never get involved in his life. This scene used to piss me off as I thought there were better options, but as I thought about it more and more, this actually was a good decision despite it being painful to both characters. It's always one of the moments in the show that's hard to watch. Number 7 is the first time when the F.L.E.I.J.A was used, which happened when Suzaku fired it during the Battle of Tokyo 2 in turn 18 of R2. The F.L.E.I.J.A was an open secret in Code Geass. If you go through the series, there are so many scenes of Nina working on it. The most obvious being when Lloyd talks to her at Suzaku's celebration party for becoming Euphemia's knight. Even though we see it pass the test in turn 15, and everyone describes its destructive power, much like Nina, we the fans were not ready for its use in combat. And boy was it impressive, wiping out 10 million and possibly 25 million more. And keep in mind, this was with the limiter. It took Asahina's life and attempted to make us believe Nunnally's as well. This moment was the turning point in both Suzaku's and Nina's character arcs, which is one of the bright spots in R2. This was a moment that Oppenheimer described perfectly.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
At number 6, we have the Ragnarok Connection, including Marianne's revealing herself to be alive this whole time, C2's involvement in it, the actual plan itself, and Lelouch defeating his parents. For some, this was an epic part of the story. For others, it was a mess. I found it to be really interesting, but a rushed idea that provided too much exposition and not enough visual demonstration. If they had spent more time here with better planning, this could have been one of the highlights of the series. Instead, it's one of the lows, something that could always be amended in the future, which would be awesome. Whichever side you're on, anyone that watched the series still definitely experienced a mixed emotions of OMG and WTF during the climax of Charles' plan. Number 5 is a very controversial topic, and that's the Black Knight's betrayal. You can go back and forth if the Black Knights were justified in giving up Lelouch to Schneisel, should Ogi have trusted Lelouch despite what Schneisel and Valletta said, why they had to kill him, and so forth. And much like the Ragnarok Connection, this was another part of the story that I felt was rushed. I remember hating this scene on my first watch. It just felt like Schneisel went to the Black Knights and said, "Hey, you want me to summarize the whole story for you? Well, here's what happened." A very polarizing part of the story that continues to be debated to this day, and it's one of the main reasons that people hate Ogi. At number 4, we're getting into emotional territory with Shirley's death. Shirley went to help Lelouch, bringing a gun with her. Unfortunately, she ran into Rollo and spoke to him. It was going well too until she mentioned Nunnally, which is something that Rollo took personally. See, he believed that Lelouch only needed him, which is why he wanted to kill Nunnally in turn 18 during her rescue. So Rollo used his Geass on Shirley and shot her, probably in the heart or liver. Lelouch finds Shirley already on the ground, bleeding to death. Lelouch was in the same boat as the audience, in that he could do nothing except watch yet another close friend die in front of him. Shirley's death was a strong moment in Lelouch's life that led to the massacring of the Geass Order. Given how Shirley was done dirty in the entire series, it doesn't surprise me the writers decided to kill her off in the worst way possible, right after she got her memories back and tried to help Lelouch. At number 3, we have the entire Zero Requiem, which is filled with so many OMG WTF moments. Just for fun, let's list them in no particular order. Lelouch uses Geass on everyone in Pendragon to recognize him as emperor. Lelouch made his family act as servants in the palace. Lelouch forced Euphemia to join Britannia. He used Geass on over 1,000 soldiers, making them his slaves and commanding them to fight Schneisel's forces. Killed his own troops and most of the Black Knights by detonating the Siguradite in Mount Fuji. Used Geass on Nunnally to get the Damocles to fire the F.L.E.I.J.A. Subjugated the whole world with the Damocles and commanded everyone to obey him. And finally, its epic conclusion where Suzaku killed Lelouch, ending his reign of terror and ushering a new age of peace as it was always planned. The Zero Requiem continues to be the most talked about arc of the anime, even getting positive reviews from the haters. It's truly one of the greatest parts of the story and still one of the greatest endings in history. At number 2, we have the first time Lelouch uses Geass in stage 1. After seeing Lelouch use his Geass over and over again, it becomes less and less exciting, but I still remember the first time he used it. Lelouch just witnessed C2 shot in front of him, and with no other options left, she offers him a contract for the Geass that Lelouch would later use to force the Britannian soldiers to kill themselves. It also has the famous quote,
"The only ones who should kill are those who are prepared to be killed."
A moment where my jaw dropped and an excellent start to this legendary anime. And at number 1 is predictably Princess massacre, the command that Lelouch accidentally gave to Euphemia to kill all the Japanese people at the Special Administrative Zone of Japan. This makes number 1 on the list for being the most horrific and controversial part of the entire series. Haters thought this was a contrivance only created to get the plot moving again, since it appeared that the rebellion had ended, while those who liked it stated it made sense because of what happened with Mao and other hints the show gives. Regardless of where you fall in this argument, one thing is for sure, this was the worst massacre in the series. So many people died in the worst way possible, and the setup had so much tension. Lelouch arguing with Euphemia about the rebellion, C2 realizing that Zaku might have a connection with V2, Lelouch and C2 both experiencing pain because of the Geass evolution, and then the part where Lelouch joins Euphemia and accidentally orders her to kill the Japanese. Just like Lelouch, we also felt helpless to stop Euphemia as she carried out the order without prejudice. It was so sad because she tried to resist the Geass at first, and Lelouch realized the only way to stop Euphemia was to kill her, which led to one of the saddest parts of the entire series. And with that, we have come to the end. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, let me know in the comments if you enjoyed my video, and what moments in Code Geass made you go OMG WTF. If there are any other anime you want me to make a top 10 OMG WTF moments in, please let me know. And as I always say, the world's not a dark place, and tomorrow will be a good day. Thanks for watching.